things didn't work out in my life or I felt bad, I immediately blamed my dad. And, he has a bit of PTSD from the communist raising and all of that happened to him. And it's affected him and it's affected our relationship and it's affected his ability to show up in certain ways for me. And that's always been sort of the crutch. Oh, this didn't work out. Well, it didn't work out because of this insecurity I have about, well, my dad didn't instill this in me or whatever worth issues and things like that. And so we tapped on that just for 10 minutes. And 3 days later, whatever, I don't remember what it was. And I went to reach for the story. And I was like, where's the story? Where's the story? And I literally was I was combing back, trying to find the story and I couldn't find it.
Oh, so what you're saying is that when you had an issue, instead of going back and saying, blaming your dad, you weren't doing that again.
3 days later, I was like, okay, something, I forget what it was, whatever, didn't work out. And instead of me being my usual habits were to just go reach for the story and be like, oh, this didn't happen again because, if I only had a better upbringing. And I didn't do that. I was literally what was the story that I used to reach for? It was this whole brain link was not there anymore. So that's when I was like, what is this stuff? And I need to know more of this and we need to do more of this.
Welcome, everyone, to the Whole Truth Podcast with John Levine, sponsored by Dean's Natural Food Markets, with 4 locations in Ocean, Shrewsbury, Basking Ridge, and Chester, New Jersey. My guest today, Jackie Simek, uses one of the most powerful mind, body, nervous system tools in existence called tapping, or EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique. With a combination of mind-body science, strategic behavioral resources, and mindset shifting techniques. Jackie is a certified EFT practitioner with Association for the Advancement of Meridian Energy Techniques. What is shaking, Jackie Simek?
That's a lot of mouthful.
That is.
I'm glad you wrote that all down.
You deserve it. You ready to rock today?
I am.
You ready to have some fun?
Hell yeah.
We're gonna tap away.
We will definitely get to tapping for sure. I want all of your guests to feel like they can go and tap on their own after this podcast.
They can do it on their own. They can.
Yes.
You're not going to tap on me. I'm going to tap on myself.
You're going to tap on yourself. I'm going to lead you through it, but you don't need me if you are in a bind somewhere and you want to use tapping on your own. We're gonna empower people to do that. So hopefully they watch the YouTube video so they can see all the placements.
They will watch it and listen. So all right, listen. I got to hear this story. How did you get into tapping or EFT? It's the same thing, right? Tapping and EFT.
Yeah, so EFT is the technical name for it, and tapping is sort of what everyone out there is calling it because it's just easier. I think EFT, probably any acronym out there now, stands for a million other things too. I think there's some sort of financial instrument or something called EFT. So
electronic funds transfer.
Yeah, there you go.
Which I take those, by the way. If anyone wants to transfer their funds into my account.
Want to donate?
Yes. So there's got to be a reason how did you get into this? What's the background here?
For sure. Anything that's sort of an alternative to mainstream approaches to things, most people that are practicing them found that tool to help them when they were in a particular situation in their life. And the impact was so profound that then, they become passionate about it and they pursue it. And that's exactly what happened to me. I looked like I had the dream life of any, young 30-year-old living in an urban, living up in New York and having a great finance job. And then I got hit with a bout of chronic pain that was not diagnosed. And I lived in chronic pain for 5 months. I had countless nights of staring at my ceiling and Googling my medical symptoms and the doctors not knowing what was wrong with me. And we finally figured that out and addressed it. And that was sort of a catalyst for me to be like, what does all this mean? Like, I am running myself into the ground. I'm just going to work all day, but like, I'm not happy. So I quit my job and I quit life and sold all my stuff, right? Because that's the normal thing to do. And went out on a 10-month backpack by myself. And when I started to get homesick, I was like, okay, it's, this was fun. Let me go back home. And I thought everything was going to just fall back into place magically. I was in a relationship. The relationship ended.
Where were you, by the way, when you took this 10? Were you hanging out with apes and monkeys and elephants? What was going on? Like,
there were a few elephants,
Were you with Lisa Rachel Snyder in Bali?
I did go to Bali as part of it. Yeah, Bali, a lot of Southeast Asia, the Middle East, Europe. Yeah. So kind of started in Prague and spent a long period of time there because my dad is Czech and I thought it would be genius to learn the language more than I knew it, which was close to impossible. And as soon as winter came along, I was like, I'm out of here. So I went on sort of an endless summer at that point. Went to Bali, went to Australia, did everything from Singapore up to Nepal.
Well, next time, don't be selfish. Take me. Because this sounds pretty.
You should have seen the size of the backpack when I left. Not backpack, the suitcase when I left. I had this giant hard-covered suitcase, and we were in Bali, and this Balinese man was carrying my giant suitcase over his head, over the water to put it into a boat. And I was just like, what is wrong with me? And I ended up buying a backpack and ditched the suitcase somewhere along the road. But yeah.
You ladies know how to pack in a suitcase. It's got to be like, what, 500 pounds?
Well, I had to give up a lot of the stuff in that suitcase. And I had a 40-liter backpack, and every hostel room I walked into, I was definitely the one with the smallest backpack. So I am kind of proud of that. But yeah. So anyways, but when I got home, I thought everything would magically fall back into place, and it did the opposite. And my relationship ended. I was looking for a job for over 5 months. So I don't know if anyone's looked for a job out there and you continuously hear no. It really does a number on your self-worth and who you are. And a lot of us attach who we are to our jobs and to our titles. And when you don't have that, that really kind of shakes your foundation a bit. And I was also living back in my childhood bedroom and kind of coming back to terms like in my 30s with different situations in my childhood, different like the relationship I had with my parents, the challenges that they have that affected their ability to parent me. And so a lot of like childhood stuff was coming up, and I just was like, okay, this does not make any sense. Like, I just traveled all around the world and I'm supposed to be like the happiest I've ever been. And yet here I am still feeling like crap. And I just decided in that moment, I was like, this is it. Like, it has to stop now. Like, I need to do something differently. And my friend was like, oh, you should go see this woman. And I went to see her in the last like 10 minutes of our session together. She was like, do you want to try this thing called tapping? And I was like, you can call it whatever you want. I just want to feel better. And we tapped on something that was a really old story for me. It was, this idea that when things didn't work out in my life or I felt bad, I immediately blamed my dad. And, he has a bit of PTSD from the communist raising and all of that happened to him. And it's affected him, and it's affected our relationship, and it's affected his ability to show up in certain ways for me. And that's always been sort of the crutch. Oh, this didn't work out. Well, it didn't work out because of this insecurity I have about, well, my dad didn't instill this in me, or like, whatever, worth issues and things like that. And so we tapped on that just for 10 minutes. And 3 days later, whatever, I don't remember what it was. And I went to like reach for the story. And I was like, where's the story? Where's the story? And like, I literally was like, I was like combing back, like trying to find the story, and I couldn't find it.
Oh, so what you're saying is that when you had an issue, instead of going back and saying, blaming your dad, you weren't doing that again. Like,
yeah, like 3 days later, I was like, okay, something, I forget what it was, like whatever didn't work out. And instead of me being like, oh, like, and like my usual like habits were to just go reach for the story and be like, oh, this didn't happen again because, like if I only had like a better upbringing. And I didn't do that. I was literally like, what was the story that I used to reach for? It was like this whole brain link was like not there anymore. So that's when I was like, what is this stuff? And like, I need to know more of this, and we need to do more of this. So I went back the next week. This was like late September. And by November, I was in her workshop. By February, I was in the official training to like become a certified practitioner. And yeah, it happened really quickly.
Hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah.
It got you right there.
Yeah.
Which, you know what? If you did something and it worked, I could see why.
Yeah.
Why
and obviously, like, I continue to work on my own things. I mean, we're always works in progress. And I think it's so important for us to do our work so that we can show up better every day and like with less fear and less old stories, and really have like clean perspectives on life and be able to embrace life in the best way and be happy. But yeah, so obviously like continue to do my own work, and I think that's really important because I am in the capacity of like working with other people. So I need to show up to sessions without my own baggage.
I don't know how you're going to do tapping on me, because right now I'm so happy that you're here sharing this story.
Well, we'll have to get you in touch with something that's causing an emotional rise that's negative.
Look at the smile that you have on your face. Are you happy right now?
Yeah. I love I mean, you can see this is my passion. I
could see
talking about this. I love sharing it with people because it's such a great tool that people can use on their own to get just immediate relief, like when something's happening.
Immediate?
I think it's almost immediate, within a few minutes.
Now, is this mental and physical? So, like, if you're, like, emotionally you have an issue...
Isn't it all the same? I have to interrupt. It's all the same. The mind and body are one. Okay. Yeah.
All right, so
there is no separation. I think that Socrates had said that, but I'm probably messing that up.
I tend to agree with you.
Yeah.
I do agree with you that the mind, body, and soul is one. I agree. Yeah. Because it's the Whole Truth podcast, so there you go. So if you have back pain, a headache, or even if you don't have any physical pain, but you have like an emotional trauma, that's obviously what we're doing here.
All of it. So tapping can be used on all of it. It's what you're doing when you're tapping on the points is that you're calming the nervous system. So part of the immediate response on pain reduction is the nervous system getting calmed, but a lot of chronic pain, which chronic pain is defined as like pain that's longer than 1 year, is emotional. And, you know, our bodies are made to heal. Our bodies, you know, you break your leg, like it's going to, you have it set, it's going to heal in like, 6 weeks or something, like all the bones start to merge together. And so like, that's our natural inclination, is to heal. So if you have chronic pain that is, you've gone to a doctor, they've done what they can, and nothing's working, it's not physical anymore. It's emotional.
I agree.
We know that like the research shows like the part of the brain that is the real estate of pain centers is the same real estate for processing your emotions. So what happens is like those things start to fuse together. And so you need to deal with your emotions to really get long-term relief of the pain. Yes, we can do tapping and you can get that, like I said, you can get immediate reduction in pain. You can get immediate reduction in like being triggered or having an anxiety attack. You can immediately calm yourself down. But I encourage people to work with a practitioner to get to the roots and to work at things at a deeper level so that you can have long-term results.
So there's an underlying issue that is going on that you have to tap into. No pun intended, or pun intended, that you have to tap into.
Once you're a tapper, you've heard every pun out there.
but the whole idea is that there's something in your mind that's bothering you that is causing a physical issue. And once you tap into that and accept it, I guess, accept what's going on and realize it and bring it out, that's when you start to feel better.
Yes. And also, like, a lot of times, like, pain can almost be protecting you. Like, it's serving a purpose, you know? Yeah. Maybe you're afraid to go somewhere, to go back to work, or, like, there's other reasons why pain might be attaching, like, in your body, and your body's, like, holding on to it, and that's subconscious, too. But the tapping works with the subconscious as well. So.
I've seen a little, I watched some videos, I've seen a little bit of this. You're getting me excited. So,
yes.
We're going to go through this, but first... So these are the, what points are we tapping? So like they're the meridian points. These are energy centers, energy points on our body?
Well, so people often say like, okay, what is tapping? People will be like, what is that? And I'm like, I try to say it's a combination of talking, sort of talk therapy, right? You're going to talk about like your issue. I'm not a therapist. I should put that disclaimer there. And acupressure. So that's acupuncture without needles. So you're just using the pressure of your fingertips.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
So I don't have to use needles. This is not the beauty of this, and this I'm just going to chime in here. The beauty of this is you can do it yourself once you are trained to do it, and it's not invasive.
No.
So like it doesn't hurt. There's no needles. There's none of that stuff. No pills.
There's no side effects.
Yeah.
So
none.
I mean, unless you think feeling better is a bad side effect.
That's a good side effect.
Yeah. So, so many other things like I know this is the Whole Truth podcast. Like, obviously we're looking at holistic things here. In our society, like you have back pain and like, what is a doctor going to do for you? Well, probably order a bunch of tests, which is good. Like you have to rule out like there could be other medical things going on, but if it's just pain, like they're going to give you a painkiller, that's going to have a bunch of other side effects. Now we're just, destroying our liver.
You must be listening to my podcast.
Maybe.
Apparently you must be, because this is what we talk about all the time.
Yeah.
So do you take any medication? Like let's say you get a headache. Will you pop ibuprofen, or will you just tap it away?
I rarely get headaches. My thing, I'm gonna keep it real here, ladies. My thing's cramps.
Hey,
so.
There's some men who listen too.
Yes, that's okay. They should be nice to.
Don't be chauvinistic.
Yeah. So, the men can be educated about cramps. So.
Oh, cramps.
Yes.
Oh.
yeah. So that's like.
Gotcha.
I'll use that if I really need. I've gone to like CBD. I might take a few drops of that.
For the menstrual cramps.
Yes, but I will tell you that I used to take north of 10 Advils a month, like in that couple days that I needed it. North of 10. Ooh, okay. Yeah. So definitely not good for the liver. And part of this, I mean, I'm getting down another segue away from tapping, but part of like women experiencing these sort of side effects is because of the liver and the damage that we do to the liver. So, once the liver's sort of working the way that it's supposed to, it will process our hormones at that time of month, so you actually won't end up with a lot of the side effects that you can end up with like during that time. So I think it's been a two-part thing, but yes, I tap on those types of. No, but this is good. This is all good information, because part of what I have certain beliefs, and part of what I'm trying to do, and one of the reasons why I started this is because I want people to take responsibility for their health instead of trying to just go to the doctor for the quick fix. Yes. Doctors are very valuable for certain situations, but the chronic situations where there's an underlying issue, right? There's an underlying issue. There's some sort of stress, traumatic event that happened when you were a child, whatever it may be. And that's what I'm trying to get people to do is to take responsibility for it, deal with it, make a lifestyle change instead of the quick pop a pill. Yeah, and I think that doesn't work, as we've been talking about. One of the like key words in what you're saying is take responsibility. Like, unfortunately, like we just live in a society where like the nicest, most dedicated doctor is still not going to be able to take responsibility for you. Like, you've got to take your health into your own hands. Yes, you do. He can help you. He can help you. He can help you in certain ways, but not not there. And so like the big thing I think now in like medicine and like not medicine all, but like we've done like the food movement, and I think we're all like on board with the food and realizing how powerful food is as medicine and how powerful food that's bad for us like destroys our body. Yeah. And we've done the exercise thing. I know my brother always jokes around. He's like a big fan of Arnold Schwarzenegger, and like he was like, oh, back in the day, like that documentary that they put out there, like he was the only one, like those people lifting weights down in like Manhattan Beach or wherever it was in California. And now like look at our society, every single one of us has a gym membership or is going to boutique fitness or whatever it is. So we've done the exercise, but now is like the mental piece, because I know like I've posted it, I think like you can eat all the kale in the world and like work out all day long, but if like your mental, the way that like, you're speaking to yourself, your thoughts, like we know every thought we think connects to every cell in our body. So the mind-body connection, it's one. It's real. It's whole. It's connected. It is. And so we have to work on the way that like we think, dealing with our traumas, like you said, like looking into like some of our past, because that stuff is like living in us and it's playing out like in our everyday. It's playing out in our relationships and the way that we work.
You got to get that shit out.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
out.
you got to tap it out. All right, so let's go. So all right, so I'm working with you. I come to see Jackie Simek. We're on the phone. We're Skype.
You'd be an odd client, as I work primarily with women.
Okay. Well, let's go. So what would I do? What would you tell me to do? So I have a real issue. So let's keep it real. Let's keep it real, ladies. So this isn't PMS, but this is a bad back. Mm-hmm. I have a bad back. I physically have some physical damage in the back from doing probably marathons and sports my whole life, and an Ironman, and that's excessive stuff. So I think that's probably where it is. But what's interesting, and I'm pretty self-aware, when I'm more stressed out, it is like clockwork. Mm-hmm. I mean, you will feel my back will start to act up, and I have sciatica, and it runs right down, and it feels like someone shot cement into my leg. So, all right, I have a real issue. Let's use that real issue. Can I tap it away?
Yeah, you can get relief for sure.
Okay, so what am I going to do in order to do that?
So, if you're working on your own, I like to keep it simple for people because you want to get out of your head and more into your body. And so that's the biggest thing that gets people caught up is they're like, I don't know the words and I don't know what words to pick. So just keep it simple. So what you want to do, you want to learn the script. So it starts off, before we start the script, you kind of want to be in touch with the pain and like what is going on in your body.
What if I don't have the pain as we speak? Because right now, believe it or not, my back feels okay. Is that a
You're like, I got a real problem, and now you're like, my back feels okay.
No, it comes and goes.
Okay.
There's days I feel fine, but there's days where my back will act up.
So for people that are listening that have like something like that, pain that comes back and forth, what's happening on the days that you don't have the pain? You're probably holding a fear that the pain is going to come back. So your emotional thing right there is about being afraid, like fear, stress, anxiety about it returning. So you can tap that down.
Okay.
If you're in actual pain, when we can work on the physical pain. So you want to like be in touch with your body. The way that tapping works is that we go into the issue, the presenting issue. So whether that is I have anxiety right now, or I have this back pain, or don't even know what's wrong, but I feel really stuck. Whatever it is, it could be super global or it could be very specific. And if it's global, it's not a bad thing. Like we just start there. We start where you are.
Okay.
But a lot of times people try to like sugarcoat things, or they know they have an issue, but they're like, I don't want to go there. But like that's the exact opposite. Tapping is like we go right into it. Like, we face it and like take away its power.
Face it. And by the way, I am going to put a tapping chart on the YouTube video.
Okay.
So you will be able to see the EFT meridian point tapping chart to make it even simpler of where you need to tap.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get moving.
All right, so you've got your presenting issue. Then you want to collect some information about it, like how are you feeling about it emotionally? If it's physical pain, there's a number of questions you can ask yourself. Like you want to be specific on the location. What does it feel like? You can try to look at it even from like a symbolic way. Like you just said it. Like you were like, I feels like I have cement in my legs.
When it's really bad, it runs right down my leg, and it's like dragging. It's like as if you were grabbing onto my leg and I was dragging you. It just feels like that's how heavy it gets, and it's painful.
So heaviness and pain.
Yep.
Cement. Like all of these words we're going to use like in the tapping.
Oh, I like that. Okay, so heaviness, cement.
Yeah, and that's like I love to use this like these symbols because the subconscious works like that. The subconscious doesn't really work with words. It works with like visions and sensory type things. So that's where we can like incorporate a bit of that. And then you want to assess like your intensity. So we always have something to like go back and check against. So if, right now you don't have any back pain, so maybe it's a 0. But if you want to work on like the fear of it coming back, and you're like, well, I'm thinking about it, and that's kind of a 3 or whatever it is, it's easiest to use a scale of like 1 to 10. Obviously, like I have clients that, just like you said, it feels like cement. That could also be something that we check back into, where you can be like, you know, we do a round or two, and then you're like, oh, well, it doesn't really feel like cement anymore. It feels like sand. Or you can see that it starts to change.
Okay.
So there's different ways. The easiest, obviously, is a 1 to 10 scale, and 10 being
so
let's
okay. So
intense.
right now a 1.
Okay.
It can get to a 10, but right now right now a 1.
That's good. We'll just go with it because obviously for demo purposes, it's easier to start with something. And I encourage this at home too. Like anything out there, like if you're having an issue, don't try this tool out on like you having like a number 10. Like you want to start, because you're going to have to like work through some of the like cognitive part of it of like, okay, this is the point and that. So you want to like get a little practice with something that's below a 5. That, you know, get yourself started like that.
So we're perfect.
Yeah.
All right.
So you've got like this information that you've collected, you've got your intensity, and then we start with the setup statement. So that's the side of our hand.
Is this the karate chop?
Yes. We've as a group of practitioners, we're trying not to use that word anymore, but yeah, so side of the hand.
So now you don't tap anyone.
No.
I tap myself.
Yeah. So when I'm working, I work remotely with almost everybody. So I use a Zoom room. They're on the other side of the camera, and they can hear me and see me. I can hear and see them.
Now, is there a certain part of the side of the hand or just any part of the side?
No, just a gentle tapping, and you can do, it doesn't matter which hand. And, you know, if one of your hands isn't free, you can always like tap it on your leg or
as long as you
tap
hit,
it on
you hit that spot.
As long as you're doing the side of the hand.
And this is a meridian spot.
Yeah.
An energy part of our body is the whole idea.
So it's a collection of like nerves in different areas, and and we use the 9 or so points that are most closely correlated to your emotions.
Okay, am I still going to show? I'm still doing it. Do I stop or do I keep going?
No,
I'm tapping right now, by the way.
So while we're doing this and we're tapping the side of our hands, we're going to say even though, and that's when you fill in what the presenting issue is. So even though I've got this pain in my lower back.
Even though I have this pain in my lower back.
And then you add the textbook response is I deeply and completely love and accept myself.
I deeply and completely love and accept myself.
Now that's a little bit of a mouthful, and when I'm working with people that have some deeper issues, they probably don't feel like that. So that doesn't feel like a truth for them right then. So I really simplify things where I'm like, I just accept that this is the way it is right now.
So I accept that I have a bad back. So
yeah.
I accept that I have a bad back. It feels heavy. And it feels like cement. And
we're going way ahead of me.
All right, I'm sorry.
We slow it down, roll it back in.
Back up, John. Sorry.
All right,
up.
so
keep tapping.
All right, so you start with, even though I've got this pain in my lower back.
Even though I have this pain in my lower back.
That's just the way it is.
That's just the way it is.
And so we do the setup statement 3 times. So
that's
even
just the way it is, baby.
You're definitely out of one.
It's just the way it is, baby. What song is that?
I don't know.
What was that? What is that song? That's an 80s song.
I was just definitely going to say this is an old song for sure.
It is, baby. That's not just the way it is. Positive thinking. I'm going to cure my back with EFT and tapping. So bullshit. That's not the way it is.
All right. Focus.
All right. Sorry. I'm trying to be mindful. Go on. Get me back.
So we do the setup statement 3 times. So even though I've got this pain in my lower back, and
even though I have this pain in my lower back,
and sometimes it moves down my leg.
And sometimes it moves down my leg.
That's just the way my body is.
That's just the way my body is.
And I accept it.
And I accept it.
Even though I've got this pain in my lower back.
Even though I've got this pain in my lower back.
And you could be really specific, like on the left side, and it feels like it's
on the right side, on the bottom right side of my leg, right above my tuchus. It travels down my tuchus.
Yeah, and it travels down my
tuchus. That's a Jewish.
I'm going to use your words because that's part of like when you work with clients, you use their words.
That's a Jewish tushy.
Okay, on the tuchus.
Yeah, tuchus.
Tuchus.
You got to get that.
Okay, on the tuchus.
Tuchus.
This is the funniest tapping I've ever done. All right, so this is one of my favorites. I choose to treat myself.
I choose to treat myself.
With kindness and compassion.
With kindness and compassion.
So many times we're suffering, we don't give ourselves the compassion we need. So that's one of my, so set up statement 3 times. So I know we went all off track and laughed and sung and all that. But it's literally, even though I've got this back pain, you know, I accept that this is the way it is right now.
Right.
You can do that 3 times and you've done the setup statement. And it's all on the side of the hand. And then you move on to the points. I like to start with the top of the head and then we just go downward. So on the crown of the head.
Okay.
And you just do small pieces of the presenting issue. So pain in my lower back.
Pain in my lower back.
This pain in my lower back. So I've moved on now to where the eyebrow meets the nose.
This pain in my lower back.
And then out to the side of the eye, and we say like all of this pain in my lower back.
All of this pain in my lower back.
And then we go under the eye. And we just continue and say the pain that travels down my leg.
The pain that travels down my leg.
And then under the nose, all this pain.
All this pain.
Under the mouth. This, whatever you want to add, like maybe a descriptor, like the shooting pain or
the shooting pain,
and then
sciatica.
And then we come down to the collarbone. So where the collarbone comes together, the little nodules, you want to go about 1 inch over and 1 inch under. You'll find like a little soft pocket, like under the bone.
Right here? Right about here?
I would come down a little bit more. So you, like, if you have this, yeah, you want to be here.
Right here?
And,
okay.
Sorry, I'm going away from the mic. You know, and if you don't get it perfect, like kids are doing tapping. So like people just, you can take your whole hand and you can just kind of tap your chest.
Gotcha.
But just stay like so that your hand and your fingers are like under your neck. I just want to keep people from going a little bit too far out towards the shoulders.
Okay.
And then you just continue like this pain in my lower back.
This pain in my lower back.
And I'm really simplifying this, and then we go to this side of the body under the arm, about a hand's distance under your arm on your rib cage, and you just continue with this pain that feels like the intensity of a 1.
This pain that feels like the intensity of a 1.
Trust me, if you guys are in pain, you probably will not be short of descriptors. You know, and you can add in all your emotions, and I really hate this.
And I really hate this.
And then I use this point, you move from the side over just the same like plane over to
so what is my wife going to do when she wants to do tapping? She's going to be like, John is a pain in my ass. This pain in my ass. This pain in my ass. So
well, she'd probably be like, I'm really frustrated. You really want to keep it about yourself and about like what's going on for you and like what's your experience.
Okay.
Yeah. So, you know, she'd be like, I'm feeling really frustrated. I'm feeling really triggered.
I'm feeling like he's a pain in my ass. I can see my wife tapping the top of her head. I'm feeling like he's a pain in my ass. A pain in my ass. A pain in my ass. So
that's like a round of tapping, and I like to go, you know, a couple rounds of doing that, and then we check in and we see like where are we with the feeling of the cement, where are we with the intensity level, what's come up. A lot of times, like when we start to work on a global issue like anxiety, and you're like, I have no idea why I'm anxious, I just feel, you know, my heart's racing, I feel tightness in my chest, and we use all that when we're doing the points, this tightness in my chest from all this anxiety, and it's so frustrating to not know where this is coming from. A lot of times while the body is getting relaxed from the tapping and our nervous system is getting calmed, our body wants to heal. It wants to help us. And so it will like release information. It will like tell us and guide us the way. Like I'm really like, you know, a guide for people. Like I don't know the solution to your problem. You know the solution to your problem. You're just not in the frame or the place where you can figure that out, and I'm going to help guide you there.
I have to throw something out at you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Planks already?
No. We're not doing planks, not yet.
Okay.
But I was thinking about this, and I have never really done tapping. I do know about tapping even before I met you a little bit, and EFT, and I think it's fantastic. I really was having a really bad problem with my back. Mm-hmm. Like it was really, really bad to the point where I was thinking about getting surgery. Mm-hmm. And I am the last guy to ever run to a doctor and get surgery because like I just don't do well in those situations. But it really was getting bad. I finally read a book that someone suggested. And in the book, it was about a neurosurgeon who was upset that he was performing these surgeries and that everyone kept coming back and it really wasn't resolving anything. So he kind of, I don't know if he invented it, but it became expressive writing. Do you know what expressive writing is?
No, I haven't heard of this. But.
So it's really similar to tapping. And I'm not saying that everyone should do expressive writing, but this is what made me think of it. And I'm going to tell you it worked. So expressive writing is very similar, but you're writing. So you're thinking about all the negative things. Like I had a bad back. So when I was in real pain, I would write for like 20 minutes. Like you start small, just like anything. Maybe you start 10 minutes every morning. You start writing. The pain in my back feels terrible. It's so annoying. I can't sit down. It's driving me crazy. It's stressing me out. I can't focus. Whatever is going on that you're thinking about, that's negative. You're writing.
You're giving it a place to go. And a lot of times clients, like, they have this, all those negative thoughts, like, going on in their head on repeat. And as soon as they actually hear them out loud, and, we, like, not only, like, with tapping, it's like, yeah, they've told me the story of, like, what's going on for them. And then I create the tapping script. So they're hearing me say their words. Then they're repeating them. And then they're hearing themselves say them. It's like, it's this process of getting it out of your head and being able to, like, have some sort of distance and observation of it.
My analogy was, this was the last, I'm telling you, this was it. This was the, like, if this didn't work, I kind of was like, you know what? I'll read this book. What the heck? It can't hurt, But this was it. If this wasn't going to work, I was going to go get surgery for my back. But I liken it to like a cup of coffee that's overflowing. And it just keeps overflowing. And the tap is on, the coffee doesn't stop, and it just keeps going all over the place. To your point, you're giving it somewhere to go. It says, as I was writing it down, in the first couple of days I didn't see anything. It went away. Yeah. It went away. It's the only thing that worked. I went to nothing against chiropractic.
You didn't try tapping.
Well, that's the thing. But I'm bringing that up because it's similar. One is writing. You're giving it a place to go. So I'm getting it out of my head by writing it down. Yeah. And this, you're getting it out of your head by actually tapping. Yeah. So it's not exactly the same thing, but it is similar that you're getting it out of your head. You're recognizing it, you're accepting it, you're acknowledging it, and getting it out of your head. That's why I bring it up, because it's somewhat similar. Yeah. And it worked for me.
Yeah. And I like that point, because we're all built differently, so different things are going to work for different people.
Exactly.
And so you find the thing that works for you. And the other thing is, like, we know placebo is real. Like, they found the genome. There was a New York Times Magazine article about it. So we can heal ourselves with our minds. And so the biggest part of that, what you were doing, is that you were really dedicated to that practice and wanting it to work and needing it to work. And that sort of, like, flips the switch and then allows your body to heal itself.
And whatever works, works.
Yes. Yes.
You ever see, there was this study done where they gave these cyclists, all these guys were just about the same as far as performance, top-level cyclists, and they gave them a pill. One was like a sugar pill. Yeah. And the other was a pill. They were both nonsense. It was both, and one was like, this is going to help you. Yeah. And, this is probably going to, increase your performance by, I don't know, who knows, by 20 seconds faster in a time trial. And it was the same thing. And every guy that got the pill that they said was going to help them, they were like 10 to 20 seconds faster. And the other guys were not.
Well, this is priming.
It's unbelievable.
And we had this conversation in the elevator on the way up, because I said, like, well, a lot of my practice is focused on women, professional women that are experiencing self-doubt and having some, challenges with confidence and showing up, as particularly business owners. And I was telling John that, like, well, as women, we're primed by society to say, like, you're not as good as men, or this isn't going to come as easily, or you can't do it, you can't have it all, you're not as valuable, like things like that. So it's almost exactly what you're saying, but instead of it being like, oh, you're going to be 20 seconds faster, it's the reverse. Like, we're just easily influenced by things.
Which I told you this in the elevator, and I'm going to tell you now. I think that's a bunch of bullshit, and that's got to stop, because I don't like that. One, I have a wife. Yeah. I have a mom, I have a wife, and I have a daughter. And this whole, like, I can't relate to it, obviously, because I'm not a female, but, the fact that females feel that way, that's not acceptable.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely coming into a movement where, like, that's changing.
I mean, let's be honest here.
Like, cut this out.
I wouldn't even. But this always kind of gets me a little upset. I wouldn't even be here.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for, I wouldn't even be sitting here if it wasn't for a woman.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to like go down the route of politics and societal stuff, but
you know, I just want to make sure. But you know, there's a lot of, you know, many women are my listeners.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that they understand that this is, you know, for them, and they are powerful. They're super powerful. Women drive the household.
Yeah.
I know we're getting off to a whole thing, but you know what? They drive. You women have more power than you realize. If you come in, if a mom comes in and says, this is how we're going to eat, or if a mom says, hey, you know what? We're going to try tapping, or we're going to do essential oils, or we're going to meditate. Guess what? They're going to meditate. I mean, 9 times out of 10, that's usually what's going to happen. If she decides that she's...
Yeah, and you're talking about the household. Like, I focus
Yeah.
on professional women. So,
Right.
like, you know, out in... We're going up against 50 years of, you know, I remember, like... And maybe this is, like, even before that time. But I remember finding this newspaper in my aunt's house, and she was much older. And there was, like, you know, the wanted section was, like, jobs for men, jobs for women. So, like...
Right.
Like, literally, we're going up of, like, against, like, years and years of conditioning of this stuff. But we'll probably cut all this out. I think we
No, we're not cutting this out. This is important stuff. This is good.
We're way off topic.
No, it's all good. So, okay, speaking of being off topic, you ready for your plank?
Sure.
I love it. I did kind of tell you it was coming.
Yeah.
So I prepared you.
Where do we do this?
You could do it right there.
Oh, on the floor?
Yeah. Okay. This is the plank station right here. This is usually the push-up side. So I usually do the push-ups over here, and the planks are usually done over here.
Okay.
Now, we have a record of 3 minutes and 19 seconds. I do believe it's Reggie Flimlin, but did Nadja Pinavaya? She kicked some butt, too. I don't know. I think it's 3:19. Reggie Flimlin.
I feel like I need to take off my boots.
You could take off your shoes.
All right.
Make yourself at home.
All right. While I take off my shoes, I feel like we missed what is like a really big piece of tapping that I want to talk about, which is...
Well, you could talk about it as you plank.
Oh, God.
Seriously.
All right.
And you know what? That's a distraction.
All right.
So distract your brain from what's really
going on. Are you
going
taking the mic down there with me?
Yeah, man, that's up to Ming.
I'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
Just worry about the plank.
So you got to tell me. So what?
Maybe I should tap on how good I think I'm going to do right now, because I'm not even joking. I do have a friend who does Pilates work, and as soon as somebody can't do a move, she introduces tapping. And she,
really?
Yeah, and she has them do, like, even though I don't think I can do this move, my body can't do this, and they end up doing it right afterwards. And so that's what I'm telling you. Like, tapping, you can use it on absolutely anything. You can use it on your to-do list. You can use it on, I like it, Wonder Woman.
This I just actually happened to find in the car, and it's actually perfect. So you're a pretty powerful chick. So I think it's only fitting that you put on, and this is right up. I'm going to throw up Ming Chen. This is right up your alley, my man. So you got to put on the Wonder Woman cape and do the plank. So you ready?
I am ready.
I love it. That was my daughter's. You have to give it.
I was gonna say.
You can take the headphones off.
Yeah, you have to give it. That's my daughter's. You have to give it back, but you can borrow it for the plank. So what is it about that? So what tapping did we listen? I'm not even close to done. But what do you want to talk about tapping that's so important?
The studies.
The studies.
Yes, I know. I'm like, maybe this is a good time to talk about it, because people be like tuned in because I'm doing the plank, but falling asleep at the data.
No. Talk about it as you do the plank.
So tapping, we've had like over 100 studies done worldwide, and the numbers that come back are like insane, because all of us like kind of joke around. We're like, we don't really know how it works. It's just been working for so long. Like, it's been around 30 years or so, and it grew into what it is. And, we're at this tipping point of it becoming...
Well, I've always said this. I mean to cut you off, but like, it's if things don't work, not everything works for everybody, because you have to find what works for you. Obviously, essential oils, tapping, whatever it may be. But if it didn't work, it just would go.
It wouldn't grow.
It would just go away.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be here talking about it if it didn't work for some people. Not saying it's going to work for other people, but give it a shot. And that's our job. Our job is to say, hey, you know what? If you have some chronic pain, do the tapping. We're going to teach you how to do it. Give it a shot. And you know what? If it doesn't, all right, it doesn't. But what if it does?
Yeah. So we've talked about chronic pain. So one of the studies showed a 68% reduction in in the sensation of the pain within 20 minutes. So that's huge. We know for anxiety that it's beating out the gold standard treatment of cognitive behavioral therapy. We know that it's making people
beating out cognitive behavioral therapy
in terms of providing relief for anxiety quicker in less sessions and having a better relapse rate so that a year later more people are still anxiety free than using cognitive behavioral therapy.
Wow. Now that is
we know it's
biggie.
More effective than antidepressant drugs on depression. There's a lot of work is being done at Bond University down in Australia, and this woman did a whole program, a study on food cravings. So we know it's literally changing the body too, because she had people, this sounds like torture, but she had people that had food cravings. I'm talking people that who can't stop eating 5 chocolate bars a day. And she would put them into a brain scan machine, starving, and then show them pictures of different types of food and then show them their chocolate bar that they are obsessed with.
Right.
And the addictive center of the brain would light up. And then put them through 4 weeks of tapping. I think it was very minimal. It was a few hours a week. And within 4 weeks, put them in starving again, showed them the chocolate bar, and that part of the brain isn't lighting up anymore. And, she was she just gave a great TED talk. Her name's Peta Stapleton, Dr. Peta Stapleton. And she talked about doing follow-ups with these people a year later and calling them and being like, hey, remember the study you did with us? Thanks for participating. Just want to check in and see how it's going. They couldn't remember what their food craving was. They were like, oh, well, in the document it says chocolate. They were like, oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing stuff.
Yeah. So
Dr. Allegra Broft, if you're out there listening, this is for you. She mentioned the same study.
Yeah.
And that's a big study.
Yeah. So we're
what's the name of that study if people want to look that up?
I don't know the actual name of the study, but Peta Stapleton, she did a TEDx talk on it, so you can Google her.
Peta Stapleton.
PETA, and that study or that program that she used, I believe, is available for purchase, and that you can self-guide yourself through the 4 weeks and work on some of your food cravings. It's used a lot with...
Don't distract me. You're supposed to be playing. I know what you're trying to do.
No, I'm not. But but a lot of people use it in their weight loss programs too, because we know that a large component of eating is emotional.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then on the flip side of things, I love bringing it. I have a big business background, so bringing it into workplaces to relieve stress and anxiety, to increase productivity. We know that when we're stressed and when we're in fight or flight, the part of our brain that we need the most, thinking, comes offline because now everything's going to the amygdala.
Yep.
And so we need to calm ourselves down so that we can go, back online. We can solve our problems. We have better, access to our creativity.
Sure.
We have more emotional intelligence, which helps us understand things better and helps us resolve problems.
Yeah.
So
I love it.
Yeah, using this, as a tool to... get your... I read something recently. I'm going to get down. I just want to say this one thing. I read this article that just came out, I think somewhere in Canada, where this woman talked about using tapping EFT as emotional hygiene. So,
okay.
Just,
emotional hygiene.
You brush your teeth every day. She does 5 minutes of tapping every day. And I love that.
Well, this is what I love about guests
5 minutes,
yourself.
I'm going to do on the floor. 5 whole minutes.
You're going to do 5 minutes?
I don't know. We're going to say.
Oh!
Even though I don't think I can hold this plank, I am going to kick ass.
You hear that? This is great.
I don't think I can hold this plank.
All right.
It's going to be so painful, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Jackie Simek, tapping
I can do this plank.
Positive thoughts to do a 5-minute plank.
I don't know about 5 minutes, but
I think you
I'm
can.
pretty competitive, so.
All right. Here we go. She's about to get ready with her Wonder Woman cape.
Have to all be on the forearm, or okay, go.
All right, you're on. 47.50.
All right, so what are we chatting about?
All right. So how do you work with clients? Let's give you a little bit of a plug here. So I just want to make sure that you understand that I always have a little pre-interview on the phone before I have a guest on to make sure that we're aligned and that they're passionate. The beauty of EFT and tapping is that you have a story. Your background, you came into it and you needed it and you didn't know what it was. You found it, it worked, and then you were off and running. And this is in a lot of cases, and I just had someone on with essential oils, and she needed those essential oils, and once they started working, she was off and running. She became very passionate about it. So how do you work with clients? So if a client wants to, so I saw something online where you have like a program. What are your programs like?
Well, I don't like to work in single sessions because I want somebody who is dedicated to feeling better, and I don't like to feel rushed, like to have to, assess all of their issues in one session and try to resolve them. It's usually like, I say it takes a while for you to get to where you are. It's going to take a little while for us to go through it, even though tapping's super powerful and you're going to feel results right away. So I work like a minimum of a few sessions with somebody. I like to give them homework and like resources and tapping videos and stuff to work on in between sessions. So they're getting like compounding like approach and relief from not just with our time together. And so I found that to be like really effective. Whew.
You're doing great. Keep going. No, I'm not telling you. Only until you get just keep tapping. You know what? Keep tapping.
I'm not tapping. I can't tap.
I'm gonna tap myself. I'm tapping I know she can do it. I know she can do it.
Tapping for me?
I'm gonna tap myself.
Can I like change to like this plank?
No, you gotta get that on your elbows.
Oh, okay.
Come on, stay. You're doing great. So,
I don't know if I can do much more.
what kind of pain? Is it all pain? I mean, we kind of talked about this. The emotional pain, the physical pain.
It's all the same, I think. Okay, I have to go.
Will you see men? Oh, she's done. 50-20.
Only 50?
No. So we're okay. So I got to do the math here. So 3. That's 48.50.
Everything was shaking. I had to stop.
You did great. Okay, 50. So that was 1, 2.
I hope I made your daughter proud wearing her.
That was 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Not bad.
Not bad at all.
I'll take it.
You did fantastic. I'm proud of you.
All right.
And you know what? The beauty of it is you did it.
Yeah.
And if you didn't do it and decided not to do it, you would have had 0.
Yeah, no, I love it.
So next time you're in studio, we'll have you do it again. Practice your planks, and we'll get you to 5 minutes.
I think that's something that's really interesting, that like when you think about like if you're like hold a 2.5 minute plank, I'd be like there's no way. But if you're like just get on the floor and try it, like you'll show up and you'll surprise yourself. So I do want to like put that out there. Like if you're dreading going to the gym, just think about standing on the treadmill. Once you're standing on the treadmill and you start walking, you're gonna be like, maybe I'll start running. Maybe I'll do another 5 minutes.
Just get there.
Yeah, just get there.
Just do it. Sometimes don't think about it so much as to your point. Sometimes we get stuck in our head.
Yeah.
And I do too. And you're just thinking and not doing. And listen, you don't want to just do stuff without thinking. It's got to be a little bit of a combination of both, right? But sometimes you got to get that crap all out of your head. And what kind of water bottle you got there? Is that glass?
It is glass.
I'm liking it.
And my friend's so funny. It has a little sleeve on it if you guys are listening and not watching the video, but it's a sleeve that's made out of like sweatshirt material. My friend was like, do you have like a hoodie for your water bottle? And I was like, yeah, it's exactly what it is.
A hoodie for the water
bottle. Yeah,
bottle.
so glass. It came with my Berkey, which is a water filter that takes out like everything out of your water, even if you think you have clean water and whatever else.
Wait, where's the water filter?
It's
it's
at home. It's a big container, and so this just came with it so that I could like have water on the go that's purified from home. And then I add my trace minerals to it, so a couple little drops of that, so you can stay hydrated because your body needs the minerals to absorb it. So
you're into this. You're into the mind, body, soul connection.
Yes, absolutely. Now, so that's another interesting thing that I should point out. The way that I work, it is a combination, I say, of science and spirituality. So the science to me is the EFT, like we just discussed, all of the studies. We know it's working. We know it's changing the body. But I also bring in the spiritual thing. I believe we are spiritual beings that came here in human form. We have a connection to something that's higher than us. We have
Do you believe in
God
do you
living
believe
within
in aliens?
with aliens.
Do you believe in aliens?
I believe that there's probably other forms of life out there.
Do you believe that I might be an alien? It's possible. They could.
Yeah,
be,
I mean,
they
if you
could be
identify as that, I'm happy to like.
Well, I don't really sometimes identify as that.
You're having existential experiences.
Not really. No, I actually I love aliens. I like the Roswell stuff and like even last night Project Blue Book. There's a new show called Project Blue Book.
Well, I was, you know, where I was all weekend, so I didn't.
A silent retreat.
Yes.
Yeah, you weren't getting much. Thanks.
So
again,
I
thanks
do
again.
not. Sorry, I definitely don't know what's on TV.
But I got to throw this at you because you might not know about this. So just about the mind. This isn't exactly tapping, but it's mind, body, and soul. This is a really interesting study. It was a Japanese doctor. I forget his name. It's escaping me. But here's the point. What your energy can do to water. So he took 3 glasses of water.
Yes, I know this one.
Yes.
I
Isn't
love
that cool?
this. Yeah.
This is so
Go
cool.
ahead, tell the story though.
Yeah, 3 glasses of water. And one he put on a label love, and the other he put on a label indifferent, and the other he put on a label hate. And every morning he did a study where he said to the love bottle, same water from the same source, I love you. I'm so grateful for you. I really appreciate you. You taste so good. Then to the indifferent, he was indifferent. He just kind of didn't say anything nice, didn't say anything mean. It was just indifferent. And then to the hate bottle of water, I hate you. You're despicable. You're disgusting. This and that. Kept doing it over a certain period of time. The love bottle stayed the way it was. Actually, that's not true. The love bottle,
The crystals in the water become beautiful.
became like beautiful crystals under a microscope. The indifferent bottle was like corroded. And the hate bottle was like beyond belief corroded. It looked like it was like death. Like this was like dying water. So, you know, it's controversial, of course, but it became a thing where it's, you know, does water live? And does water have energy? And can your energy...
Well, we're made up of so much water. So that's how I interpret this study.
We're 85% water.
Is that what he was doing to that water bottle? Think about what we do to ourselves all day long. Like, are we saying really nice, beautiful, loving things to ourselves? Or are we, you know, oh my gosh, you're so stupid. You screwed this up. Nobody cares about you. I don't care about you. You'll never get that. I don't deserve this. And we do that all day to ourselves. And so that's where I actually call my work mind shifting. Yeah. So mind shifting with science, with the EFT and spirituality. And the spirituality, a lot of that is based on the laws of attraction, which is about watching your thoughts and picking better thoughts. And yes, we all go through stuff and we all have emotional reactions to things, or we have a breakup or we lose a loved one, and like it's impossible for us to think a better thought, or we think a great thought about that person and we're grieving. So like it doesn't bring up like a good emotional response. Yeah. Okay, like allow ourselves the compassion to be there, be graceful to ourselves, be gentle with ourselves. Don't beat ourselves up. Don't push ourselves through that. That's just an extra layer of suffering that you're like putting on yourself. But if you could you're not going to go from some hatred thinking to like, oh my God, I love, that's a really far spectrum for you to move your thought to. Yeah. But can you just pick the next better thought? Or can you pick a thought that's distracting, that's neutral? Or can you find yourself like something else to do, like go take a nap or watch a television show, some little bit, or go exercise, like whatever it is. But watching your thoughts is a big piece of the work that I have. Like when you asked how I work, and I give homework and things like that. So that's a big component of homework. And self-praise, like really building up your confidence. Like our society, like, we're marketed to like, okay, well, first they have to establish a problem for us to like, for them to give a solution to, right? And we're primed and we're taking all that in subconsciously or consciously or whatever it is. And so it's hard sometimes to think really good about ourselves, or then we're a narcissist, or we're too full of ourselves, or whatever it is. But the brain doesn't know the difference between whether somebody else is praising us or we're praising ourselves. So getting in the habit of praising yourself And I can play this game like ABCs, like A, now I need now I'm like, I do this a lot and I'm like, I can't come up with something, but, I am
Wonder Woman.
Give me an A. Give me
an
something
A?
that's like an A.
Attractive.
I'm attractive.
Absolutely awesome.
Thank you. Absolutely awesome. B, I want to say I'm bold. I even one time.
Brave and beautiful.
I actually put something once where I was like, B for bitchy. Like, yeah, I'm bitchy. Like, and I own that.
Wait,
like,
is that a positive or a negative?
Well, I can spin it to be positive when it needs to be,
Yeah.
Or I could even being like bold or bossy.
You
like,
don't seem bitchy to me. You seem very, very sweet.
All right.
Well, maybe
sometimes.
Okay.
But we might have to cut this too. But like even something like bossy, like that's got negative connotation. But like I can own that and be like, yeah, I'm bossy sometimes when I need something or I want something to go a certain way or I need to clearly communicate it. Yeah, maybe I put that hat on. Doesn't mean like so. Like playing that little game of like self-praise with yourself. And
that's good. The ABCs.
Yeah.
I am absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
Or B, I am the best, brave, beautiful.
And do that when
bitch.
You're and do that when
or if it's me, I'm the bastard.
But doing that when you're kind of going down that hole of I messed this up, I never get anything right, and I'm always gonna disappoint people. I always disappoint myself. So whatever that is, like, just stop it. Like our mind is so powerful, but like we have the opportunity to like work with it. And so I think the EFT is really effective in doing the deeper work. Where did all those things like kind of have seeds and then we like watered them and now we're like walking around as adults believing all this stuff and it's not true. And it's going to take work and you have to use the subconscious and you have to use the body because all that's stored there together. And that's why things like traditional forms of therapy, which are, I don't want to knock them, like they're really helpful to a lot of people.
I'll knock them.
Okay. They're really helpful to a lot of people. You don't have to knock
them. I'll do it.
Some of my clients, they still see their therapist as well. And that's totally cool. At the same time while they're working with me. But it's why some of it has let people down in some ways. Like there's no reason to be going to therapy for years and years and years. You will not work with me for years. I will kick you out. Like we have a goal. We're working towards the goal. And if anything like beyond a certain point is now a codependent relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want you to like thrive. Go.
I have a lot of great guests. And you're one of several great guests. The EFT and tapping is something that I support. I think it's fascinating. I really do think it's awesome. I have a little bit of experience with the expressive writing, which is not tapping, but it's similar. And there's a lot of different things that work. So, like I said, I've had people on that are OBGYNs. They deal with essential oils, biological dentists who, remove mercury from teeth. But what it does, what it comes down to is I need to bring someone on my show that has a real story, and there's a reason they got into tapping and EFT. And then there's the passion. So once there's that reason and then the passion is there, which I can clearly see.
And then the crazy of deciding to start your own business with it.
No, it's good, but this is where I'm going to help you out. This is where I'm going to help you out because, I want to make sure that I bring value to people that listen to me sincerely. I can't bring someone on here that I think is not up to speed. I want someone to come, watch this and see this and listen to the show and say, hey, Jackie Simek or, all my other great guests that have come on. This is someone I would like to see if they're having that issue, if they're interested in tapping an EFT. So it's and that's why you're here because we talked and I heard the passion, I know the backstory, and it worked for you, and it could work for other people. So with that, you did great. Thank you for the ABCs. I'm going to use the ABCs. You've taught me a lot, and that's the beauty of it. So we educate and then we inspire. And we're going to inspire people to get out there and try EFT and tapping and find you. And where now, how can people locate you?
JackieSimek.com. And Jackie Simek. So I should probably spell my name because it probably doesn't sound the way that it's spelt, this Czech last name. So Jackie is easy, and Simek. Simek. It's all together on Instagram. So Jackie Simek is my handle. And I do live tapping on there every once in a while. I have to get back into it a little bit more. So come join some live tapping. YouTube videos are out there. And yeah.
Yeah. JackieSimek.com.
I always, I don't work with anyone unless we have a call first. So I invite anybody who is interested, like, let's have a call. I'd love to know, like, what's going on, what for you, how you're feeling, how you want to feel, and, you know, what about this, like, whatever you heard inspired you to want to incorporate tapping into your healing process. And
beautiful stuff.
yeah.
B for beautiful, badass. I don't think
compassionate.
Bitchy. And with that, that is a wrap.
D for done.
D for done. Until next time, adios, amigos and amigas.